Last time on Square Roots, we see the sights of downtown LA, from a floating murder ship to a maniac murder mansion. Plus, we address a public health crisis, invest in the hospitality industry, and visit a museum. You know, normal vampire stuff. Bleh!
I'll never crawl again. I'll never fall again until I'm free. Here I stand in this room, caged and trapped inside.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zandt.
What? Yo, it's your boy Matt. Smash that like and subscribe button.
John Sewerman Brandon.
Just call me Claudius Scares. I have fully embraced the lifestyle of the vampire.
Wouldn't that be more of an unlifestyle, John? Hey,
Hey.
But I'm bump.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs. In this case, we're not doing that. We're playing Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
What are you talking about? This is the most favorite and the most classic RPG.
This game
Is trash.
I can't figure out if it's good or very bad.
It's
it
very
seems to,
bad.
Hit both.
Put
for
it
me.
in the garbage.
There are some parts I really, really like, and then there's the sewers.
Set the garbage on fire. Kick
And
the
the
garbage
multiple
can over so that it
sex
sets the house on
dungeons
fire.
in this chunker.
Yes, this game is like the curse of vampirism itself. It is both very good and very bad.
You know what? You don't have to keep lying to us, Vanessa. We get it. You tricked us into playing this game. It was a long con. It worked. We're not going to stop in the middle of it. Stop pretending like this is good.
Okay.
Hey John, when it's your turn to make us play a game that we all hate, what are you gonna pick?
Lost Odyssey?
Shadow
just gonna make
Hearts
math.
Covenant.
Ooh, yeah.
Infinite
Okay.
Undiscovery.
Oh yeah, that's my pick. In our Patreon game vote.
In Shadow Hearts Covenant, there's a side quest which results in two wrestlers having sex in front of your party.
Nice.
And they all comment on it as they watch.
Why would we hate that?
Don't
It's
play
great.
it when the kids are home. Got it.
Well,
Like
there is
this,
a child
just like
in-
this game.
there is a child in your party
What?
in that game.
John is
Okay.
misinterpreting. They're just like, oh, he's really suplexing him now, and John's mind fills in the rest.
Well, guys, should we talk about how we leveled up this week?
Sure.
Suppose that's something we could do.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Vanessa. Oh.
Vanessa, go.
Okay, I saw a movie called Joker.
Joker Man.
Yep.
Whoa, how do you feel?
Fine, I guess. The seats reclined a lot, which was helpful. Gentlemen, I did not like this movie. I
Why?
like Batman very much. Not necessarily every entry into the Batman franchise, but I loved the animated series. I loved the idea of Gotham and Rogues Galaxy. I even watched Gotham, the TV show.
Rogue Galaxy.
The Rogues Galaxy, you know, like Jaster and,
Rogue
and
Gallery.
little Timmy.
Batman's
Yeah,
copy
Rogues
of Rogue
Gallery.
Galaxy that he likes to play sometimes.
Batman's Rogues Galaxy.
Vanessa, would you now consider yourself an incel?
I guess.
Okay.
I mean,
Did they give you a red pill with your ticket?
I got so woke because before I was like, well, not every guy I want to have sex with wants to have sex with me, and that's how life works. But now I know that it's because they're busy banging Stacy's when they could have a nice girl instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Hollywood Chris's, get woke.
What?
You know, like they're all busy banging Stacy's. Whereas I would
Stacey?
obviously be the right choice of partner for Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans and what's
Chris
the
Pratt?
other one? Chris Pratt. No, he's fine.
No, thank you.
I'll
Christopher
pass.
Sarandon.
Christopher Sarandon, Chris O'Donnell, Chris Klein,
Chris Farley.
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Catan.
Oh, you probably would.
That's true. You know,
And
I
think
do
he's
like to keep a
straight.
running list of like probablys. You
What are
know,
some other Chris's you want to have sex with? What about Christmas?
Chris Kringle.
I mean,
same.
I mean, he's not my type, but
Chrysanthemums.
heckin' rich. Yeah, chrysanthemums. Just shove them
Chris
right up
Martin.
there.
Oh my god.
Christopher Cross, both of them.
Yeah, Chris and Cross.
And Christopher Cross.
And Christopher Cross.
Uh-huh.
And who else is there?
Christopher Columbus.
Christopher Columbus,
Hang
the
on, fuck
director.
that guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chris
okay.
Chris Maloney.
What's your issue with Chris? Oh yeah, Chris Maloney. He's very
Christopher
funny.
Maloney is he's a tall drink of water.
What about
Sure, so
Crispin Glover?
Crispin Glover for sure. He's great.
He's floppy-haired.
He does have floppy hair and he's very strange looking. He's the exactly kind of man I
You know,
like.
I could see you two being happy together, like, really?
Like really, really happy.
Yeah, like, I don't know, I just see it working.
All right, well, you
All
know
right.
him. Just introduce him, John.
Yeah,
Crispin Glover, hit me up.
yeah.
What was I doing? I
You're
was
talking about
leveling up.
Joker.
Oh,
Christopher
right.
Walken. Okay, sorry, we're done.
Joker, I didn't like it. It does have a strong performance from who do we want to call that guy? Joaquin Phoenix.
Walking Phoenix.
However, I didn't feel that the narrative held together, and it had nothing to say, and it was just bleh. I feel like you could have cut out the whole sort of subplot involving other Batman characters, and it would have been a better film.
Could have cut out a whole subplot with Zazie Beetz and it would have been a better film.
Yeah, you could have cut out a lot. Because at the end of the day, it's really just a guy portraying a mentally ill man. And we've seen a lot of that
Yep.
already. So, not very interesting. Shot very well. Like, good lighting.
If you want to see a real Joker, take a look at our president. Am I right?
Oh,
Wow. So many.
We're not that
You know
kind
what's
of
ironic
show.
is that the
Jokes
people who
tonight.
really like the movie would not agree with that statement.
I don't think that's true. I don't think the movie
Yeah, I
is
don't think
divided
so.
along that line
Yeah.
at all.
Good point. I made a
I
broad
That's an
statement.
absurd thing to say.
I went with a friend who liked it a lot more than I did, and one who liked it probably less than I did. So right in the middle is little old me, thinking it was just kind of like, it had its moments. Like, I'm not going to say don't watch it. It wasn't awful. It didn't upset me to have had seen it, but I didn't really get anything out of it.
You got to spend some quality time with a friend.
That's true.
Thanks,
You got to
Joker.
see some cinema.
I did get to see a cinema film instead of these movies usually churned out by Hollywood.
Man, if the Joker is what Martin Scorsese thinks that Hollywood should be producing instead of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, that guy and his opinions can fucking go away. They're very
Well, it
wrong.
essentially was a Martin Scorsese film. Like, not in the sense that he made it, but it paid homage, I guess you'd say, or ripped off, depending on how generous you're feeling. Taxi Driver and this sort of 70s sad sack white dude,
And the king of
working
comedy.
class kind
yeah,
of guy.
King of Comedy. Wasn't that a Scorsese movie?
Yes. Watch King of Comedy instead.
No.
I've never seen King of Comedy, and Joker didn't make me want to go sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
John, you don't like King of Comedy?
I've never seen it, but I don't really like Scorsese movies.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
Oh.
I just feel like that story's been told, I guess. And that's not to say that I don't think that you can rehash stories and look at them from a different way, but I don't think that this movie added anything to the conversation. And it certainly, I think it thought it was adding something to the conversation about mentally disturbed people who commit violent acts. But first of all, that's mostly a myth. You know, like the mass shootings and things like that are not from, you know, textbook mentally ill people. They're just from very violent, radicalized people.
White supremacy is the common tying factor.
Yeah. And also, most mentally ill people don't commit crimes. In fact, they are much more likely to be victims of crimes. So there you go. Joker. It's a laugh. John, how did you level up?
Well, a couple of things. I've watched a couple more episodes of The Good Place this season.
It's a great show.
I can say without spoiling anything, Patrick Cox shows up, and he is a dreamboat.
I don't know who that is.
Did you watch the second to last episode where he plays the guard? Oh, okay. He was in, I think, one of the Batman movies. I think he was in the Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in Two Broke Girls. And he was like, his name's Patrick Cox, and he's this like big bear guy, and he has lots of bear fans, and he was really engaging with them. And so, like, even though he's straight, he was selling shirts like Real Men Love Cox and stuff. And I think that his fans got too aggressive with him, and he decided to leave social media. I felt bad about that. Like I wasn't like sending him dirty DMs or anything, but I was like, oh, he's really pretty. I don't know. I don't know how to handle that properly, because he seemed to enjoy the attention and was being like having fun with it. But I definitely could see people being like, I'm at your house now. You know.
Don't go to people's houses.
Yeah. I've also, I keep going back and forth between playing Fire Emblem Awakening and Fire Emblem Three Houses. And I'm like, I like...
How is that not the same game? What are you talking about? There are two Fire Emblem games?
They're very different games. Awakening came out in like 2012 and is for the 3DS and is a bit more cartoony, less Persona, because the Switch
more
one
cartoony.
has so... Yeah, it's like
more
more
of a
sprite
visual
art.
novel, less of a Persona.
Yeah, more like super deformed combat animation and cute sprites, and I think I like the combat focus more on the DS one, the 3DS ones, and on the Switch one, there's so much bullshit between every fight, and then every time I try to fight, it's the same map every time, and it's so ugh.
I burned out on it too, and it wasn't the Persona stuff. I liked the Persona stuff. The combat was fucking boring. It was the same thing every time.
Yeah, it's really easy too, which I like, because I'm playing this Fire Emblem Awakening, and it's super hard.
Yeah.
But I think I realized what I was doing wrong was people grind, and there's like items you can get to respawn random encounters on the map, and so basically I was getting killed because I was way too low level for the fights. But it doesn't give you any notice like, hey, you should be leveling up in between story battles, and it just becomes incredibly hard. And I guess that's the clue that you need to level up.
Yeah.
But I really like the combat. I even like the combat in the Switch one, but I find like it's more easy to tell the pieces apart in the DS ones. Like it's a bit simpler, and everything looks ugly and the same on the Switch ones. In a way, I just don't like the look of it.
Yeah.
When you're fighting. And there's way too many, all the Persona stuff, there's so much of it. Like there's 15 menus you can navigate in between fights, and a whole place you can walk around, and it's a little too much. I find it very, very intimidating.
Much. Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I leveled up. Matthew, you were really wanting to level up before. What's up?
Well, listen, I have the hot new game to tell you, gang, about. I bet you haven't even heard of this one. Probably flew right under your radar. It's like a new Western RPG, you know? And it's
Dead Space.
It's kind of like Firefly in vibe. It's like a Fallout 4 New Vegas space.
Do you mean Mass Effect?
Nope. This game is called Outer Wilds.
Wait, what?
And
What?
it's great. It just came
That's
out, and it's by
Nope.
the team that created Fallout New Vegas.
Nope.
And it's like, it's
You're
also
playing the
got
wrong game
some
again.
of the people who made Mass Effect.
That's
And
Outer Worlds.
I think that Steven Spielberg directed it,
What?
and Marvel
What?
Disney wrote the script, and it's got all
What are
their
you even-
actors.
Talking about.
Outer
Matt's trying to
Worlds.
Oh, so not Outer Wilds.
No, I tried Outer Wilds, and I tried to fly the ship twice and crash twice and quit.
I want to play both, but I only have so much time, and I only want to play a different game every night and not get anywhere.
I'm pretty far into Outer Worlds. I think I'm at the maybe last major outpost.
Oh, cool.
Whoa.
Major hub, I should say. I'm not 100% sure about that, but boy, I seem really far into this game. Though I think I might be missing companions. Oh, wait, I never got that robot. Where do you get that robot
Ooh.
again?
I'm working
It's in
on
your
getting a
ship,
robot.
dude. The robot's in the
I
ship.
explored
Yeah,
the
and then
ship.
you have to talk to Ada about it.
Oh.
Yeah, you go to touch the robot or interact with it, and it doesn't do anything. And then you talk to the computer, and the computer tells you where to get his first weapon that will turn him on.
Yeah, I think it's in Roseway, I
It
think.
is.
Yeah.
I went and got all the
It's in that
Science
storage
weapons.
place.
I haven't used any of them yet, but I have them all just to be safe. And I'm like level 25.
Well, I don't want to hear your thoughts on it because patrons are going to pay their good money to hear it.
Yeah. You can respec on the ship, which is cool for like a Western RPG.
Oh, nice.
I realized that, like, really I had dumped some points into, like, handguns and leadership, skills I wasn't using. So I went and respec'd and was able to give myself 80 in my 3 main skills of hacking, lockpicking, and 4 main skills, hacking, lockpicking, persuasion, and long guns.
Oh, that's very similar to my build.
Well, apparently, we'll talk about this more when we talk about it for Patreon, but apparently Johnny's got the master build, which is some sort of sneaking monk that murders people with 1 hit.
Yep, he's
like,
great.
I'm playing it on normal, and I die regularly. Not super
I'm
regularly,
playing
but
on
it happens. Like, I get
hard.
mobbed.
And I explode people with my hammer.
I wish
Wow.
I should have done that. I do really like having a super high persuade, though, because it lets me get super high persuade, hack, and lockpick, because it lets me get into and talk my way through like every single situation. I don't actually have to fight that much, other than
I
like
use dumb a lot, and that does help because I'm also the dumbest.
I read an interesting article about how that can affect the end of the game in a very hilarious way, and
Oh,
I'm
I can't
excited to see
wait.
if that happens for you.
Oh boy, we'll find out, I guess. Yeah, I'm just past the ground. I just got to Roseway, so I'm not. I don't know how. I'm like a third through the game, maybe.
I don't remember how far back
I
Roseway
think
was.
that's how far I am.
I think there's a couple of areas that are surprisingly large, have like hours of exploration
Oh
packed into them, like very large areas, and it's like Greenvale and Roseway combined make up some of the later areas.
Guess I should stop playing these Fire Emblems and play Outer Worlds.
Yes, buckle down. You do level up fast, which is nice.
You do. I like that too.
Anyway, yeah, Outer Worlds, it's pretty great. Go check it out. And Jim, how did you level up?
Well, I started watching the HBO series Watchmen.
What?
Oh,
Who
how
watches
is
The
it?
Watchmen? Jim does.
That's the
It's
answer.
actually really stinking good.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I like
it's-
that comic.
It just kind of, I don't want to say cherry picks, but it adapts the story of the original in actually really, really interesting ways. I don't think this is a spoiler, but in the show, there's the thing that they're like, that the cops are trying to figure out. There's like a white supremacist group that uses Rorschach's mask, and they use a lot of his words to like articulate their racist ideology.
Crazy.
Oh, wow. That's a criticism that I enjoy.
Yeah, and they take and like all the all the cops wear masks because these people, like some years before the show takes place, murdered a bunch of cops.
Oh wow!
So cops are anonymous.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, and you can tell it's a Lindelof show because of the way it's written and very mysterious. But like it's actually really captivating, and Regina King is the main character, and she's like I don't know, like what do they call the mass vigilantes in the show? She's a mass vigilante. Like the mass vigilantes in the show work for the police. And she's a detective, and her name is Sister Night, and she's got like a nun-themed costume, and she is super awesome. It's really cool. I'm digging the show a lot.
I don't
check
think
it out.
Anything on TV has ever made me just be amazed and so happy. Then I think, was it the end of season 1 or beginning of season 2 of Lost, where they get inside the bunker, and then the guy inside's going crazy, and all the codes start flipping into hieroglyphics. And
Yeah.
I was so like, what is going on? And that's the Lindelof touch of just...
Yes, and that like the end of the second episode, there's the third one is airing tonight, but the end of the second episode features like one of those cool what the fuck moments.
Yeah.
And like even Regina King's character, as she's watching it happen, says what the fuck, and then it cuts to credits. It's really awesome.
Ooh, I think I can like pay $5 extra to Crave TV and get it, because it's like it'll add all the HBO shows.
Yeah, you should. It's like I was like 2/3 of the way through the first episode, and I was like, I'm super into this show.
Oh, awesome!
I want to see all of it.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
I want to get the HBO for this Golden Compass series.
yeah, the
that they
His
have
Dark
going on.
Material stuff that
Yes.
premieres tonight.
Tonight? Wow.
HBO
I love
is on
that
fire
series.
right now.
Really?
But yeah, check out Watchmen. It is it's actually a really awesome show. I can't wait to see all of it. And that's it for me.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Quest log!
It's called the Dark Compendium.
That was our transition for this week.
It was a terrible transition, and also it's not called the quest log, it's called the Dark
I
Compendium.
just finished playing this game moments before we started recording, and I'm fairly certain it says quest log.
The
Eponia,
Dark Compendium. Yes.
join me as we read the Dark Compendium together.
I, a connoisseur of all art and literature, because I cleave to my humanity through the works of man, would love to hear a story from the Dark Compendium.
Why don't we venture to the darkness of Hollywood?
This is where
be
I want you to put the
delighted
record
to.
scratch drop and then just insert Jim and I screaming for 30 minutes. This is not an
I
episode
did
of Sierra
go-
Roots. I will not listen to this.
I went onto the YouTube and I looked at a Let's Play of the tabletop version
Oh, cool.
of this game that some people were doing, and they were talking like that the whole time.
I was trying to find, because I wanted to use for our cover art, Connor from Robogame. I wanted to find him, like, a screenshot of his show, but I can't find it anywhere.
He just guests on an episode of the show, I think.
Oh, where do I even watch this show?
The YouTube.
Okay, I'll try to take it, because I want to replace the terrible Linkin Park banner we have right now with something, and I think Connor from Detroit Become Human would be a great...
I think that would be fantastic.
In the interest of really steeping myself in the gothic punk world of Vampire the Masquerade, I started reading the book, the original book.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And it's some hot trash.
So what is this book? There's a book?
It is the rule book for the tabletop RPG, the Vampire the Masquerade source book. And,
All right, guys, I have to go. Bye.
What?
Bye, Jim.
What's
I have
happening?
to go.
Jim has to go.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you.
So, Hollywood.
Hollywood City! This part of the game, I was so excited for you gentlemen to get to because I feel like this is where the world really starts fleshing itself out.
Yeah, we got a new kind of Toot that's wearing even less clothes, and it made me even more uncomfortable than the classic Toot variation. Is this like in a Final Fantasy game where you get like a different color of the same monster with like a slightly different name?
Sex workers aren't monsters, Matt.
This section's really
Well, are they like spells? Sex workers are
really,
magic, Vanessa.
That's true.
Sworker filled. Like they're trying to paint a picture because I was talking about this with Vanessa. I didn't know if this was supposed to be edgelordy or sexy. This chunker. It's supposed to be like.
Guess is that it's supposed to be sexy.
What year did this come out again?
2004.
Okay, so it's not 90s.
But it feels like it is.
Yeah, because everything that it's based on is from the fucking 90s. It's the Blade franchise and Vampire the Masquerade and The Matrix.
Yeah.
It's certainly an aesthetic. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's a good one.
But I feel like it's kind of, in a way, like reveling in the worst, darkest corners of society. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, you not only do you get like a sex club, but you get like a sex videotape store, except that it's full of like the most depraved sex you could think of.
Yeah, and what that amounts to is a tape
depraved.
of a woman being eaten by a monster.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, that's depraved. But in general, what they seem to be selling is not that depraved.
Yeah, peep show booth, not super depraved.
So this starts reminding me of also taking place in Hollywood, I think, Duke Nukem 3D, where you get like peep shows and XXX video stores, and there's a real Duke Nukem vibe to this area. There's strip club.
I never played the Duke Nukem.
Yeah, I barely touch those as well because, that's because we're not in our 40s, Vanessa. So,
monster. I love Duke Nukem 3D. It was great.
This game here's what it is, John. It's bad. It's edgelordy. It's the Marilyn Manson of video games. I fucking like Marilyn Manson, and this is still the Marilyn Manson of video games, and I do not mean that as a compliment. That is an insult. Yeah, it's trying as hard as it possibly can to be sexy and weird and dark like you would find in a Hot Topic diary, and it's just really bad.
Now,
the end.
I don't know. So basically, you start off being greeted by a lackey of Isaac, who is the Baron of Hollywood, a film producer turned vampire, who controls 30% of all the films made, which sort of sounds like a lot in 2004. But I think Disney now controls like 60% of all the films made. So there you go.
Yeah, this guy's just like DreamWorks or something. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. He he knows maybe how to get in touch with the Nosferatu, although he's having problems with that. But he says, in order for me to help you, first you got to get me a tribute. Do a little quest for me, and he asks you to get him a videotape.
Yeah,
the game
he wants
does
to
that.
watch a movie.
The game wants to do that tongue-in-cheek thing where your dialogue or options are like, let me guess, another fetch quest. But it's you're having your cake and eating it too, game, because I'm sick of these fucking fetch quests. And I'm on a fetch quest, and then I have to go meet somebody that sends me on another fetch quest, and then that person then when I meet that person, they send me on another fetch quest. I'm like 3 fetch quests deep. All I'm looking for is a tomb.
One genuine, polite response, 2 90s sarcastic responses, and then 1 I'm going to kill you or I'm going to leave response to every dialogue.
Yeah, I don't really understand. All it seems to affect is how shitty they are towards you when they ask you to do their fetch quest.
Right. I'm always really nice. And he seems really into like
Why
having
are you
me...
always really nice? You are a vampire, John. You don't seem to be role-playing very well here.
I totally am role-playing, but I'm role-playing like with a respect for vampire authority, but towards humans, I am a real jerk. Like, I'll tell you some stuff I did with Heather, my ghoul, and her bringing me men to feed on in my house. It's getting really weird. Oh yeah, I have this girl that's just bringing me. She brings over dates and then lets me feed on them. I also tried to this episode. I tried to feed a film or TV show director to a quest giver lady, but the quest screwed up and he disappeared from the house. So I don't think I got to do that.
Oh, sad.
Yeah,
You can feed
really want
people
to
to
do that.
people?
yes, you sure can. So I am playing more evil, but I'm playing evil, but like with respect for vampire authority in this game.
So
Anyway.
evil, but still a huge fucking nerd.
Yeah, like a bootlicker kind of evil.
Still a real tight-ass motherfucker.
Like a Grima Wormtongue sort of fellow.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm playing the I don't like or trust any of you motherfuckers role. The Anarchs really seem to think that, like, I'm on their side, but I'm very much like, no, I'm going to betray and kill you too, because you're all fucking awful.
Yeah. So Isaac asked you to go do this pickup for a tape, which involves you meeting him behind an alley. And then, on my way there, a friend of mine from my previous life shows up and she's really concerned about me.
Aww.
Yeah, that was
She's like-
weird.
You disappeared. We've all been super worried. Why don't you stay here? Is it drugs? I'm sure it's drugs. It's drugs, isn't it? So stay here. I'm just going to call my friend, call your friends and tell them that you're okay. And we'll all like try to stage an intervention.
Oh.
And I let her do that. I just kind of hung out to see what happened. And I got like a masquerade demerit point.
Oh no.
And
You violated the
Fucking dork.
masquerade.
And then she followed me around Hollywood until I left the city, asking me what's wrong.
Oh, what a good friend.
Yeah, I
I
felt
told
kind
her
of
to
bad.
fuck off, and she started walking towards the phones anyway, and I just took off. And I'm glad that I did that, because I thought about hanging around to see what happened, and I'm super glad that I didn't.
I waited until she walked over to the phones and then snuck up behind her, and I did bite her on the neck. But I didn't kill her. I just drank a whole bunch of her blood.
Yeah, I think that's the way she will, because she'll get into like a reverie if you do that,
Yes.
and she won't remember what she was doing. So it seems like you don't like. There's no options of remembering her. It seems like you kind of only have vague memories of your human life.
I guess.
Interesting.
It's been like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but maybe like those were the before times.
But a lot of
Now
them
is
seem to
your true
remember
life.
their past lives.
Yeah, I know. It's really weird.
And you just don't. You're just a blank slate.
Oh, I did something. I just
Oh.
remembered.
What'd you do?
I watched a little bit of the pilot episode of Kindred, the Embrace.
Oh, okay, let's talk about that.
It was not good. It does star, what's his name? C. Thomas Howell
Oh, I will.
as a police detective in San Francisco. And he somehow becomes embroiled with these vampires. And there's a prince character in it, just like in this game. And at one point, the prince character goes to visit the grave of his grandchild. Because he had a wife and child when he was alive. And then when he became a vampire, he left that behind. But they continued to have progeny.
The later episodes make it more like a buddy cop between him and the cop, but they're more antagonizing in the first one. They kind of did a rewrite or like restructure after the
interesting.
first episode where the characters kind of change, and it's more soap opera-y. Although it's all about like the vampire politics.
Yeah, in this one, they're very concerned about this cop. The cop is sleeping with some vampire woman.
Ooh.
And there is a scene where the prince calls all the clans to the table and they discuss what to do. And there's, all our favorites like the beefcake Bruja and the feral gangrel.
Yeah.
The gangrel's like a motorcycle gang kind of guy. And there's the Toreador and the Ventru. Although I think the prince himself is a Ventru, but there's another Ventru. And there's a Nosferatu. But
Oh, fun.
he does not look like the Nosferatu in the game. He's just bald and pale.
Does he have the ears?
No.
Oh, okay. Huh. Well, I've been putting more into my primal abilities. I have this one called Protean because I'm a gangrel. That makes my claws super powerful and I can see in the dark.
Oh.
And it just rips through. You fight more creatures in this chunker. And so I was like easily going through all the combat without any problems, which is nice, even without the healing. Although I keep forgetting, every place with a refrigerator, I have to check it for blood packs because that's the only way I can heal.
Yes, you have made this game very difficult for yourself.
Yeah, just by the version I have.
Mm-hmm.
So you go find this videotape man. And he's very scared. He says he saw some messed up shit on this tape and he knows it's real and that people have been following him ever since he found it. Mm-hmm. And he's terrified for his life, but he doesn't have the tape on him. So he tells you to go find it. He left it by the Ginger Swan, which we don't know what that means. Mm-hmm. And then you hear him screaming. And was he going he was going to go get it, right?
Yeah, he sort of runs away and then you hear a scream and
I followed him down to the sewers and found parts of him.
As did I.
But I couldn't find any culprit.
No, I looked everywhere.
And then I spent about an hour talking to everyone in the town about Ginger Swan, seeing who knew. The guy who runs the convenience store thought that sounded like a porn star name or like a delicious food or something. Mm-hmm. I looked around like the Chinese theater or Asian theater as they call it in this one. And I there's a film student over at the hotel who's pretty fun. He reminds me of every film student I went to college with. Not every. There's just a couple of pretentious ones. And not any of my friends who might be listening to this. They just like other guys I knew, I swear.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But he was pretty fun. I like talking. Did you talk to that guy? He works at the Lucky Star Motel.
The guy who's developing a script.
Yes, but it's not a script, man. The script is like what a hack writes.
Right.
It's more of a stream of consciousness, like another world that you transport yourself into. It's like 120 pages of wisdom.
Sure, so like a really long treatment.
Yeah, and it's like, no, it's not a treatment. It's like a lifestyle.
So like a storyboard.
No, it's not like a storyboard. It's like peering into my mind and like dropping wisdom from it.
Oh, it's like a show Bible.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I enjoyed that conversation a lot. And I kept asking him for more and more details. He's writing a script about vampires, I think. Was that the guy writing the script about? Yeah, he was writing. Yeah. And I said it sounded very interesting and that I want to know more about it. And he was very nice.
What's happening?
So I thought that
John,
going back
did a stranger get in touch with you? What's going on?
Oh, I'm good. So I talked to, I didn't want to go back and tell Isaac I failed finding this Ginger Swan, but I think that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the game's like, find more information about Ginger Swan. So I talked to everybody and no one had any helpful information. But Isaac's like, oh, you mean the old film star? Mm-hmm. Was she like a burlesque star? Like a Gypsy Rose Lee?
I'm not clear, but
I just thought she was
does
a porn
talk
star.
about... She wasn't a porn star, Matt. Come on, jeez.
I mean, Gypsy Rose Lee kind of was.
Jeez, come on. Maybe she was. But Ginger, Isaac tells us that men would have done anything for just one night with her, and they went to her grave and wept, for 40 years after her death, and then eventually people forgot who she was.
I got the sense, I don't know if you went through his dialogue trees, I got the sense Isaac is a homosexual vampire.
Oh. I didn't really pick up on that, but could certainly be the case.
He has a relationship with the guy who runs the amazingly very 1990s video game labeled Asphole Bar. Mm-hmm. He gave the bar to his young protege, a vampire he sired, because he was about to die of an overdose. And this young man, this young man was so important to him. And he says things like, he was just like the most wonderful man, and I couldn't see my life without him, and I had to save him. And that's why I get these. Like, there's no overt text that he's gay, but I get the sense that he's in love with Ash, who runs the ass pole.
Yeah, he is a Toreador, like my character. And as we know from our reading of all of the lore on Toreadors, they are romantically inclined to the point of obsession. So, like your Edgar from Twilight is going to be a Toreador there.
He is very obsessed with Ash, so that would track. So I do think he's coded queer, which is cool. I liked it.
Typical Hollywood, am I right?
Oh, and so I went to the tomb place. What do you call? Okay, I was trying to remember the name for these places with all the little tomb boxes.
Is it a mausoleum?
Yes. In the notes I called it a tomb place.
You did. I'm looking at it right now.
So you raid the tomb.
I made a friend in the graveyard.
Oh,
she was walking through the graveyard.
I avoided making a friend with this
when a friend beheld her. What a dreadful sight!
It led to the bullshittiest minigame corner.
It does lead to a bullshit minigame, so perhaps we should save it for that. But
well, we could talk about the friend.
I made a good friend. His name is Romero.
Yay!
He is a ghoul.
Is he a ghoul?
No, I thought he was a full, straight-up vampire.
He looked like a vampire.
I think he's a ghoul.
He looked like a vampire to me.
I thought he had the teeth, but I could be wrong.
Well, maybe I just thought he was because at one point my character had the dialogue option to tell him to, like, scram ghoul or something like that.
Oh, maybe he is then.
Anyway,
his job... Did say that he was working there so that he would get his blood for the month?
That's ghoul talk.
Oh, that is ghoul talk, yeah.
But a vampire could say the same thing, right?
Vampire goes and gets its own blood.
Yeah. That sounds very ghouly.
Anyway, there's a ghoul in the graveyard named Romero, and he's protecting the graveyard from zombies by shooting them with shotguns. It's all very tongue-in-cheek and heavy-handed and terrible.
Get it,
yes.
Romero?
I don't get it. Huh?
Well, I certainly got it because Romero
yes, you did.
asks you to guard the graveyard for him so he can head on down to the strip club and get himself a little bit of entertainment. And I was like, Romero, baby, you don't have to go to the strip club. I'm right here. And he's like, oh, yeah. And then the screen faded to black. I got a trophy or achievement called Romero Gets Some Lovin'.
What the fuck?
I don't have achievements in my version of the game. I'm very bummed.
Then I went on my merry way.
Yeah, this leads to a minigame that we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
And so all in this graveyard is a mausoleum with a tomb for Ginger Swan. You just have to look around for the sparkles, and that's where you know you're in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And there you find the other tape, the master tape.
Yes.
Or not the master tape. That's the copy tape. Sorry, the first tape.
You just find the tape, you bring it back to Isaac. We watch the video. It's not great, and it's certainly not erotic.
No. This video is 30 seconds long. Looks like bad cutscene. Lady walks into house being pursued, or lady is being pursued by a little two-legged creature.
These fucking
she
monsters.
Screams. She runs into a room, closes the door, and then the camera slowly pans to a bed which has two monsters on it, and then slowly pans back and she gets eaten.
Okay, now let's take a moment to stop and describe what these monsters are. These monsters are heads with arms sticking out of where their ears should be, and that's it. That's the whole thing.
They kind of remind me of gray versions of the little piggy demons from Doom. Remember the little two-legged piggy demons? They remind me of those. Oh. Okay.
No, these are just ridiculous-looking monsters. And so there's this thing called the Masquerade, right? I'm supposed to believe that that this world is hidden from humans, even though there are little fucking monster heads with arm, hand, legs. What is happening?
Well, did you talk to the... Okay, I can't even say this word. Did you talk to Andre?
Andre?
The Tzimisce? Tzimisce? Tzimisce?
What are you trying to say here? What?
Samson.
What's happening?
Sermsib.
What?
Samsung?
What are you doing?
The Samsung.
Stop it.
Okay. Anyway, you find out where these little guys are from, and they should not... They are breaking the masquerade, but this guy is... Yeah, you hear them say it. They say it once.
What are you doing? Knock it off.
I'm pronouncing it based on the pronunciation on the Wikia.
Oh. how do they
Talking
say it on the
nonsense
wiki?
words here.
Zoobilee.
Zoobilee. They are a clan of scholars and flesh
Zoobilee
shapers.
Zoo.
What?
The Zoobilee Zoo. That actually is a better name. These fucking Zoobilee Zoo guys and their goddamn head-arm pets. And later on, there's even grosser monstrosities.
Look, you're getting way ahead of yourself, for one thing.
Anyway, so we see her getting eaten by these little buddies. And then Isaac's like, well, that was not enough video. We need to find out. This is an incomplete copy. We need to find the full version.
My favorite thing
Unrated.
that happens is when you do find the full version, it is literally just like 2 seconds tacked on to the beginning of the girl opening the door to the house. That's all that was missing. That's it.
Yep.
So you have to go through this whole thing to get the full video, though, where you go to a payphone and you have to give the code word and then they tell you where to go.
Well, first you need to talk to Floyd.
Yeah, you got to go to
porn
Sin store. What's it called?
Sin Bin.
Sin Bin. It's really gross in there, and I mean, I know that they're going for sleazy, so good job.
So the downstairs has a peep show. Can you actually see the peep show? I couldn't get into any of those doors.
Yeah, but it's like a lady in like underwear, and she does that same dance in front of a glass pane. You know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the strip club, which I forget what it was called. The one across the street.
Yes, I also forget what it was called.
And
Let's call
there
it
was-
also the Sin Bin.
There was a Blade there, except he was a white Blade that looked like John Travolta. Did you see him? He had a sword, he had a gun, a trench coat.
Yeah.
I think that he looked like a vampire hunter, so I stayed away from him.
I saw him at the ass pole.
I walked up and poked him in the face, and nothing happened. So
Yeah, I tried to talk to him, and he was just like,
Maybe
oh,
it was the ass pole.
it was the ass pole.
Okay. But there's a strip club too, which
I
I
didn't notice that, and I didn't go into it if there was one. I'm a high-class vampire boy.
It's not that great. It's very Duke Nukem. This whole section's very Duke Nukem. So there's a Floyd's Sin Bin. Oh, I also went through his computer downstairs, and it lists a bunch. All the logs are just lists of different stripper names and videos. It's all very, very respectful towards Sworkers.
I guess you could say, I'm sorry for this, I guess you could say that it's a very fang-in-cheek version of Duke Nukem. Right, John? Right, Vanessa?
But what I did like...
in-cheek?
I did like that the one of the lists of videos was a full list of furry porn.
Yeah.
Really?
Let me just give you the list of furry porn titles you can watch. I hope you're excited.
Wait, these were furry porn? Oh, no.
Yeah. The Beastmaster Productions, the finest in fresh-facing, feathered, and furry frolicking. National Anthropomorphic Explorer, in search of the wild Madagascar tree chode.
I don't think
What?
that's furry porn, John.
They
you
keep
can't say tree chode.
Lady Chatterley's Woofer, Big Game
no.
Humper 4, Furbound,
I don't think
Global
it's furry
Goose
stuff.
Chase 19. Well, he does say specifically. He says it's furry, that he has furry porn, which I guess could mean zoophilia, But I don't think that's what they're going for, because he talks about that also. Global Goose Chase 19, the wet hot waterfowl of the Nile, Ruby Roo in rhymes with rut spucked, and Yeti Felcher.
Spucked.
Yeti Felcher.
Gut mucked.
Yeti Felcher. You'll
What?
figure it out eventually.
Oh, no.
He had a nice magazine rack, and it had magazines such as Dead Bird, Greed, Slums Downtown Living, Pain
Chin.
and Suffering, Doggies, Chin, Woman Whaler, Sea Punks.
That's wonderful.
The cover of Chin magazine is a photograph of a chin.
There's some other emails about a guy who has sex with barnyard animals and how he was retiring, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there is the zoophilia, and then there's the furry section. But I could be wrong. Listeners, if you have ideas about how they're... email us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com.
Please don't do it.
So Floyd, you ask Floyd about the special tapes. He's like, oh, I got everything. I got gay, I got bear, I got spanking, light spanking, fisting, pegging, ladies, all sorts of things. And what's your pleasure? And you're like, well, have you heard of Death Mask Productions? Because that was the title card or production company card at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The movie didn't have a title, though.
No. And it really needs one.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, that's a little too extreme for me. I don't deal with them. And you can like eventually convince him to break down and tell you how to get in contact with them. Because he's like, look, whatever you're involved with, don't. Because these are bad dudes. And everyone I've seen look into this gets killed.
You can also hack into the computer downstairs and figure it out that way.
Oh, I didn't do it that way.
There's a password written on the wall in like a maintenance closet, and then you go downstairs to where the peep show is, and you lockpick your way into the manager's office and hack into his computer.
I did that part.
Well,
I didn't do it. Maybe you have to do it after you get the quest, because I didn't get the quest yet. So he tells you, okay, well, these guys want to meet. They're always ringing the phone, and you have to give them this password. And then they'll tell you where to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And this is where they tell... Because there's two people that want... Like, there's two things you have to do at Lucky Star Motel. This one is the one where... Is there a creature there when you get into the room?
No, I don't think so. But the room is, like...
trashed. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a card that says to go to...
There's a room key for the Lucky... Or no, this is the Lucky Inn.
The gaming zone.
Yes, the internet
cafe. Oh, it's the
cafe.
key for the back door to the internet cafe. That's right. Or for the door in the back of the manager's office at the internet cafe.
Yeah. So you head down there. You go inside the internet cafe, and there is a whole sprawling sex dungeon.
Sure
it's not
is.
a sex dungeon. It's a film studio.
It starts off as a pornographic film studio. And the deeper down you get, the more it does just turn into a sex dungeon.
And it's like, it's not a pornographic film studio because they are doing snuff porn, which normally people wouldn't deal with.
Are they
though?
doing?
Or are they just really good special effects artists?
But they're not. I get. Is the porn operation in the back of the internet cafe snuff? Is that?
So are they Death Mask Productions? That's what this operation is?
That's what I'm asking too. I don't think so.
I think they said they found the tape. Like, you meet an employee at the end, and he's like, oh yeah, we found these tapes, and we just put them up. But so
yeah.
So who made the title card at the end of the tape? That was them?
I think that's them. They found this tape, and they're like, oh, rad, let's put our title card on it.
Because I can't see the Zoobilee Zoo like spending time making a really professional title card.
No.
I mean,
that is
the
what
Zoobilee Zoo didn't do it.
That is what the employee says. He says that that Death Mask Productions just slapped their logo on it.
Yeah, they're just making normal adult entertainment. They have different vignettes set up. They have a bed. They have a garbage dumpster.
They have a glory hole, which seems like it would make a pretty boring film.
People like all kinds of things.
Yeah, what are you talking about, John?
Like a glory hole? Who wants to watch half a glory, like half a sex scene?
Well, I don't know. And of course, I don't know what kind of things might be out there on the internet, but it's possible that were you to search that term on one of your frequented web pages, you might find a lot of content in that area.
Glory holes? Yeah, I guess you're right. So everyone's dead. It's full of these little creatures, these little two-legged buddies, two-legged, no-armed heads.
They do jump at you and give you a spook.
They do, except I can see them coming before they activate because I got my glow-in-the-dark vision.
Ah.
Ooh, you did?
So
How'd you get that?
It's my class ability.
What? Oh.
So I can see them from way far away, and I can also tear them to shreds with my claws.
Oh. One of them burst through a door. It scared me.
Yeah, I'm still just using that fireman's axe.
They can still jump. They especially in the dumb sewers where they're just jumping all the time.
Yeah, that's very intentional. They hide them in sewer grates and behind things very much so that they will jump out and give you a scare before
but they're
you
just
have
glowing.
to go.
Like, with my ability, they're just glowing. You just see these
That's
holes
your
like,
ability. Like, I wish they glowed, man. I wish I could highlight stuff in this game. It would be amazing.
So these are a bit trickier than any of the enemies you faced before, and they just run at you, and you just have to like smack. But they die really easily, so it's not that bad.
But they are scary.
They are a little scary. So you find this guy, and he tells you that this employee, but right before he gets killed by one of these creatures, he tells you that they found the tapes, but they just put their logo on it, and then he gets killed, and then you find the tape, the full tape at the end after doing a very long sex dungeon.
Yes. And the full tape shows you the house that this woman goes into, and Isaac is like, I know that house, because Isaac's been around forever, and he knows all the houses.
Yep. And I guess, was it like a vampire house? I don't know. It's a pretty modern looking house out in the Hollywood Hills, and he tells you to go see it, and that he thinks it'll help you find the Nosferatu.
It's not well kept, I would say.
And it seems like what he implies, and I could be wrong, is that house is used by the Nosferatu as like a means of contacting them.
He thinks that the Nosferatu are scared of the Zoobilee Zoo.
Right. Well, he doesn't know about the Zoobilee Zoo yet, does he?
Yeah, he doesn't know what it is, but he does think the Nosferatu are scared of these little creatures and things. They are hiding somewhere.
So we go to the house, and more Zoobilee Zoos run at you.
It's gross in there, John.
It took me a little while. You have to like Zelda up the side of the house.
It looked like Hellraiser house.
I like these kind of houses. They're real popular in the 80s and 90s.
Where pinheads live? That's the type of house you like?
With flesh growing on the wall?
But the outside
Where the
of the
line
house,
between pleasure and pain is inseparable.
It's kind of Bauhaus.
The buzzing of flies around the rotting corpses?
Form follows function, very sleek modernism house. I like the design. Although no one's there's lots of pools you find, and none of them are filled with water.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too.
Winter.
I guess it is winter.
You know what I hate from this era of design are those blocks of glass that they stack up to make like a partition or a shower wall or something. Those are awful.
The part of the building that my work is renting is full of like very early 90s design. So it's got like the 90s gas fireplaces and those brick walls and everything. And it's so, and ferns everywhere. It is so 90s. It's amazing. I literally took a picture of those walls you're talking about in the black leather sofa and everything. I was like,
oh God,
we're visiting the 90s.
Is it painted like a neutral peach tone?
It's a neutral blue, like a robin's egg. but it's very 90s. And yeah, I those, nothing says 80s more than those.
Yeah, those and one of those big paintings of like a woman, her face in sunglasses. With
Are
the
you
hair.
talking about a Patrick Nagel?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, you got to have your Patrick Nagels.
Get yourself a Patrick Nagel, get a bunch of glass bricks, stack them up on each other.
Black leather sofa.
Black leather sofa and a mirrored
Ferns.
coffee table to do your cocaine on. You are
All
set.
the ferns.
All of them.
Yep. And
Get so many ferns that you think you have too many, and then get 2 more.
get one of those portable hi-fi decks, like the ones that's like a little portable cabinet that you can put all your hi-fi equipment into.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so that is the 90s or the late 80s. And this house on the inside is a little bit more like bioflesh
Yeah.
growing.
It
It's a
does
little
have
grosser.
fleshy growing all over it.
It's pretty gross.
It's got all these things running at you, and like, well, at least I'm through this dungeon. This probably won't have another 2 hours of these things running at you after.
That's where I was about an hour before we started recording.
Yep. So you get to the bottom, and then you meet Andre,
The Zoobilee Zoo.
the Zoobilee Zoo. And he's like, welcome to my sex dungeon.
The Zoobilee Zoo like to shape flesh, much like Winnowill in the ElfQuest series shaped Tildak, so he had wings.
He molds bone and muscle and sinew into whatever form he likes.
That's right.
He likes these little guys that are running around, even though they're
I
dumb
guess.
looking.
Yeah.
And what he's trying to do, so he says, what is his tape? He was the one who made the tape. And he's like, yes, and you found it and it brought you to me, didn't it? What was the end game with the tape?
I guess he was trying to do an intentional masquerade violation to attract vampires to come investigate.
Oh, really? I thought he just kind of said he was trying something new. Like,
Well, he says he-
maybe I'll
I talked to
expand
him.
out into TV. And that's how the Zoobilee Zoo show was born.
We hope you enjoy it. Here's the first episode. Lady walks into a house. He's not very... I guess that explains the poor production values and lack of coherent narrative to the story. I feel like he could have fleshed out the character more.
What was the name of that lemur that hung out with those 2 brothers?
Zubumafu?
Yeah. He's a Zubumafu.
I think Zoobilee Zoo was a Quebecois kids show.
I remember Zoobilee Zoo. I feel like it was
As
one of those
do
shows that
I.
was on when they kind of assumed kids had stopped watching, but I was one of those kids that just kept watching. Oh,
Oh no, I'm thinking of Watatatao was the Quebecois kids show.
All I remember is the song is like Zoobilee Zoo, Zoobilee Zoo. They just say it over and over again.
So he is real worried about the vampire apocalypse that is coming called Gehenna. We talked about that last episode. He's pretty nervous about it, and he thinks that the Camarilla pursuing this tomb or that crypt thing,
The sarcophagus.
the sarcophagus, yeah, is going to rush them towards Gehenna, and he's doing whatever he can to attract and dismantle the Camarilla. And that's why he's got this little army of creatures.
Yep.
These creatures?
Ah!
That is a picture of the Zoobilee Zoo people. They are much more disturbing than I remember them being.
Isn't that one guy the guy from Alice in Wonderland?
He
That one
looks
there?
like it.
The Alice in
That's
Wonderland
my
show.
boy. That's me. If so, he had a niche.
Yeah, playing Bucktooth. I would not be surprised if it was that guy, because it really does look like him. If you know more about Zoobilee Zoo, please write us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com.
Maybe we should become a Zoobilee Zoo watch podcast.
That's a
would
good
be
idea.
great.
Let's pivot.
Yeah. And so at this point, is there a way of talking your way through this? Since I don't have any talking points, it basically ended with me saying, I have to kill you now.
I tried to talk to him, but I did also have to fight him.
Yeah, same.
Okay. And he's got a boss fight where he's summoning little creatures at you, and he's zip-zapping around the room. Is he invisible or not? I'm curious.
I don't think so. I think he just zip-zaps.
Okay. Because he was a different color, and he looked kind of translucent in my protean vision, but I couldn't tell if he was invisible with regular vision.
Huh. He seemed to be, like, teleporting around the room.
And I kind of just ignored the creatures and just went after him, because the creatures weren't doing that much damage.
They annoyed me a lot, so I killed them. This fight took me a little while. It was annoying.
So you kill him, and then you can open up the passageway to the sewers.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, finally, this dungeon's done. I can go meet up with the Nosferatu.
This is like 5 fucking levels, and it is all looks the same and is impossible to navigate. It makes you crouch constantly. There are monsters around every fucking corner.
There's Half-Life 1 and 2 style puzzles, like using physics objects to stop things and flooding pump controls, and it feels like another very bad game put in the middle of this game.
It's really weird.
It doesn't feel like the rest of the game at all. It's very combat, although like it introduces these big fat creatures, and then it has a boss fight with this Zoobilee Zoo lady.
Spider
creature.
lady.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, that boss fight's over. And then it's like, psych, now you're going to have one of them around every corner. Every corner. Oh, and also to get out of the room with the boss fight, you have to like push physics objects in order to. That was the only way I could get across that gap was to like
you have
make a bridge.
Yeah, you have. Oh no, I just had to. You just move the barrels out of the way, and there's a ledge. It's very thin, but you can walk on it.
Oh, I just moved. There's these pillars you can knock down, and then you can use it to like walk across.
Huh.
And then jump. Well, you get halfway and then you can jump. But it's just like really bad Half-Life physics puzzles, which was not what I was expecting. Yeah, platforming,
Why is there
bad
platforming
puzzles.
in this game?
Like running to, like you have to like turn on this pump and then get there before it pushes you back.
Yeah,
I
before the
assume,
fan kicks into full gear and it pushes you back to the back.
And this, I think probably it's faster if you're cheating, but not cheating. This took me 2 hours. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to get through this very long dungeon, but also my game was crashing. So I did have to restart a few times because whatever reason it would just make my computer reboot.
There are a couple shortcuts you can find. Like there's a door that's locked, I think, that you can get through if your hack skill is high enough.
Yeah, I did get through, I think maybe the 3rd or 4th level, like really fast. And I was like, huh, what happened?
Did you jump off the thing?
Yes.
Yeah, down and through the blades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait,
but I also
there's a couple of long
lockpicked or hacked
jumps.
my way through a door. I don't remember which one.
I did see that there was like a shortcut I didn't take, so I felt a little dumb. But it's fine that like you get to these catacombs where there's spider ladies across every corner. They are like, so they look kind of like centaurs from Fallout, like half spider, half naked lady. Flesh monster thing.
They're very spoopy.
Yeah, it all looks like Hellraiser stuff to me, and I don't appreciate it. There are rats all over the place, so you can fill up your blood gauge, which is entertaining.
Yeah, I was feeding on lots of rats, and you can sneak around every enemy except for the little guys. Like the fat guys, if you are crouching, they can't see you, basically, and same with the spider ladies. So as long as you can avoid the little guys, you're good. So stealth your way through this if you have to. This, it's just so bad, Vanessa. It's so bad.
It's pretty bad. It's not fun to play. It's not vampire-y at all.
No, there's no alternate. I guess there's a little bit you can sneak and stuff, but it's really long. And there's 2 games which remind me of this. Half-Life 2 has this water hazard sewer area that's about an hour of the game. that sucks and remind me a lot of this with the same similar kinds of puzzles. And did you ever play Enslaved Journey to the West?
A little bit.
No.
That has, in the middle of the game is this junkyard sewery section that's just like this. And it was just awful. And I just hate it when a game's like, this game's pretty good, but they added this time waster section.
That game was really pretty and had decent like combat and stuff, but all of the platforming or like the traversal stuff was just like on a narrow path, and it basically played for you, as I remember.
Yeah, it's more like boring. Looking at the environment. I really liked that game, but that sewer section was not good. And then you get to the Nosferatu warrens in the end. You have to jump through a big hole, and it just kind of lands you there. And there's a little bit more platforming, getting through this like red acid bath that they live around.
Yeah.
And finally, like you start seeing signs, all the signs from around the city they've made copies of or stolen or reused the assets.
Old copies of, or yeah.
And you meet all the people. You're supposed to find Gary, but I also met Nick, who gave me a quest, and Amalia, who was a former model, who says that the Nosferatu have a sense of humor and like ironically harvesting people, like who are maybe too vain to make them super ugly.
Yes.
That's fucked up. I was slamming my way through these conversations so hard just because I wanted to go find Gary and get the fuck out of here. I was so annoyed at this point. I didn't give a shit what these people had to say. How dare you fucking talk to me? Gary is so close.
Is Gary Mark Hamill?
I do not know.
Is that how you pronounce that person's name?
Hamill? I don't know. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
It's like an alien just came in and pronounced Mark Hamill's name. Mick Hamill.
I think that he realized that we were on to him with his pronunciation, and he ran away to readjust his human suit.
I think you're right.
But when we do find Gary, he does like to fuck with us a little bit.
Oh, God, this is so annoying.
He has set up a table for dinner.
Yep.
And it's surrounded by skeletons.
And there's like rats on the table for dinner.
Yeah,
like
and he says that it is a reunion or a wrap party for his movie that he was in. There are a bunch of movie posters around the wall.
Yeah, I read somewhere earlier in the game about Golden Gary something, or Gary Golden whatever, the Golden Boy of Hollywood,
yes.
And I was like, I bet that's that Nosferatu.
Yes,
named
and
Gary that
you
I'm
were
looking
right.
for.
Mm-hmm. So Gary used to be a famous film actor. He has decided to dig up his castmates and have a nice dinner. He does. I don't see any indication that Mark Hamill voiced any voices.
Okay,
no, I thought it sounds a bit like him, but I don't think it is at all. I think we would know that by now.
And he sort of makes fun of you. He's
really fucking annoying, and he pretends like he's in your head, man. And he's all kooky crazy, and really he's just hiding. And when he finally shows up, he just looks like a Nosferatu, and it's really not that impressive. You know, once you get used to what those guys look like, they're not that bad. It's like, yeah, no, you're bald, you got pointy ears, and like no nose. I get it.
I like this section though. I thought he was charming and really fun. I am a fan of Gary.
Oh.
I'm just wild about Gary.
Oh no.
I liked the little mise-en-scène he left for us of the deathly dinner party.
Mm-hmm.
It looked very classy. He's got books everywhere. He's wearing a nice, I wouldn't call it a tuxedo, but he seems like a croupier or something.
Mm-hmm.
A fancy dress.
He's a fashionable gentleman.
Gary is rad. He used to be a big, gorgeous film star. Gorgeous Gary, they used to call him.
Gorgeous Gary Golden, the golden boy of Hollywood. Yeah, see, I used to be the top dog around here. Me and Fatty Arbuckle hung out, and now we're both vampires.
No, we don't want to talk about what he did. lovely guy. He was a little sad that I hadn't heard of him, but, a little before our time.
Yeah, stupid millennials, they don't know anything.
I just know about POD and System of a Down.
And what's it? The name
Psychosis?
of the group? Psychosis. The fake band shirt that you're wearing.
Oh, you know what? I should not put System of a Down. They're actually good. I think of that kind of era of music, System of a Down's the good one.
All right, you heard it here first. Square Roots endorses System of a Down.
I think some of that stuff holds up, and some of it does not, but certainly nothing that comes out of this game does.
Oh, I kind of like the soundtrack.
Oh, boy, that's a crazy thing to say. This soundtrack is god-awful.
I love this game. It's so good.
And so he asks us to go head out to Chinatown to find their missing buddy who has disappeared. And there are vampires, but they're like, are they going to be like the cool, like when you watch horror movies from China and Japan, there's those weird vampires with the hats and they bounce?
Maybe they will.
The Ming Sao?
They might be. This certainly wouldn't be the first version of this type of story to do that exact thing, so I wouldn't be surprised.
He does say that they're kind of a different strain of vampire. They're similar.
Yeah, he
but
says
not.
they're not kin. They're not kindred. They're different.
So I'm kind of excited to see what they're all about. But before we go to the next time, why don't we talk about some side quests?
Let's do it.
Matt, did you do any side quests?
No.
Vanessa, did you do any side quests you want to talk about?
Oh, yes, I did a great side quest.
Ooh, tell me about it.
I went to the stripping club.
The theater went to you.
Oh, that's my song. You remembered. Yes, I went to a performance venue called the Strippery. And there I met the proprietress of said Strippery. She is a vampire. And she was very happy to meet me. She's like, you're so pretty.
Oh, my.
Oh, I'm a Toreador. You're a Toreador. We're so pretty.
Oh, she was the one who wanted me to go upstairs and talk to her, right?
Yeah, come
I didn't want to
upstairs
do
and
that.
talk to me.
I wasn't interested.
I did go to talk to her, and she wanted me to run some errands for her, as every vampire in this game does.
Yep.
First, she wanted me to go talk to the young man you mentioned before, John, who was writing the script about vampires.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was concerned that he was getting things a little too right. And he seemed to know about the Camarilla and all this stuff. So she's like, go and find out who has been feeding him this information. But I really like him, so don't kill him. Just find out who it is, and also you're gonna have to delete his screenplay.
No!
So I went, I chatted him up, told him I really love vampire screenplays, and I'd like to read it very much, so he gave me his only copy, amateur move, and told me that he'd made a friend on the Santa Monica beach who taught him about vampires. A stuttering friend.
Ooh.
So I took his script away. I thought I would have to delete his backup copy or something, but turns out he didn't have one. And I went all the way to Santa Monica to the beach and...
All the way to Santa Monica.
Santa Monica on the boulevard. You have to dodge those inline skaters. That's what you have to do. Mm-hmm. So I went to talk to him, and he's like, yeah, I guess I did tell him all about vampires. And I was like, well, that's a very bad thing you did. Please get out of town so I don't have to kill you. He's like, okay, bye. And then I went back to the club and said, I did it. She was very happy, but she wasn't done with me yet. because she told me there was a vampire hunter in town. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, surely this is the vampire hunter who we saw in the ass pole, because that guy was clearly a vampire hunter. No. She wants me to go after a young woman named Chastity.
Ooh.
Who is dancing at the peep show.
Oh.
And she says, you need to go kill Chastity, but make sure nobody sees you do it. And so I'm like, okay. And I went over there. I talked to the guy at the front desk. And he's like, oh, yeah, you can get a private dance from Chastity, but you have to wait until all the other customers are gone from the peep show. So in order to get the customers to leave, I had to hack into the peep show computer and lock the windows. But there's one window that's broken, and I couldn't lock it. So there was one guy still in there.
Okay.
So what I had to do was break into the ATM in the hallway. So when he ran out of nickels and then went out into the hall to get more, he couldn't.
Does the game kind of guide you towards that, or do you have to figure that out?
It was ridiculous forever to figure out what to do. I tried like biting him, and then it was like broken because he was just standing there in a trance, but he was still there. So eventually he left. The other customers left. The girls went on break, leaving the door to the peep show stage open. And I thought I'd go in there and talk to this Chastity lady, but the moment I stepped in, she drew a katana from where I do not know, because she was in a bikini. And she did attack me, so I did kill her dead.
Oh. Did you, like, drain her blood?
I think I just hit her until she died.
Oh.
And so then I went back to the strip club for my reward, and I got a autographed photograph of the proprietress, which I sold.
Oh.
For $60.
Do you
Well, that was
buy
worth it.
stuff ever? I bought a lockpick, and that's it.
I bought some new clothes.
Ooh, that's
I
a good
went from
idea.
my crop top outfit to a
Ooh.
one of those Mandarin collar shirts that
Where'd you
white
buy
girls
that?
like to wear in the 90s. I think I bought it from the guy who has a truck.
I don't know where he
What?
is. Is he in Chinatown?
He's in downtown LA.
Oh. Okay. I'll have to
This
find
guy
him.
selling stuff out of the back of a truck.
Because I am sick of psychosis.
Yeah, I don't like my guy's look at all.
So, I finished up the Plague Bearers one.
Oh.
Which was the one where they're like deliberately infecting people because like they want to bring the apocalypse down. And so I went through some leads through the homeless people. I also got that Strauss, and so I got rewards from both the vampire girl at the bar and Strauss for this because I did it for both of them.
Nice.
And so the homeless people led me to this crazy guy who was, I think, a Nosferatu, who had this lair where like he had people strung up on the wall. And we were talking in the Dead Space episode about games of this era that were more gory than Dead Space. And this one is like there's someone with hanging entrails and stuff.
Oh, no.
It was pretty gross. And I defeated that guy in his big battle arena. He was invisible, but not to me because I've got glow-in-the-dark vision. And he had a card talking about the Brotherhood. So I went and followed the logos of the Brotherhood, because there's some on the walls, to this, I guess, what would you call it? Like abandoned house?
Yeah.
Where this cult is meeting, and the cult is full of zombies. There is about a 20-minute walk through this cult apartment building where I was using my protein powers to slash through dozens and dozens of zombies. And I got to the cult leader, who I slashed with my claws. He was a real not Chris Pine from Bad Times at the El Royale.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, he was a real Chris Hemsworth. Just a end times preacher who was super crazy. Did you kill him too, Vanessa?
I did. again, I did not have an option to talk it out with him, so he did have to die.
Well, if they don't want to talk, they don't want to talk.
Exactly. I don't enjoy taking action, but I will if I have to.
So there's that one. There's also the other one I wanted to talk to you about, although I did like the Pisha quest. It broke for me. The one where she wants me to feed her TV director. But the other one I did was the serial killer quest, because the next step of it was at the Lucky Star Hotel, where you find a body and someone jumping out a window. But you find out that he dropped his business card, which is a bad thing for a murderer to do. He works at the junkyard. And so I walked into the junkyard and then just died. Like the game just went red and said, you suffered final death. And I didn't know what happened. So I died again. And then I tried it a third time and stood in a different place. And basically this guy's like throwing cars at you.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And you just have to not stand near the cars, because even though they're like slowly moving bad physics objects, they will kill you instantly if they touch you. And so you
like
have
a real car.
You have to go through this physics object dungeon and get to the end, and you're like, why'd you do it, man? And he gives you a real Punisher backstory about how these humans killed his family and how he somehow became a vampire and then used the power for good, he felt, by killing them. He said, well, you can do this, but you just have to hide your power. You're like, we don't care if you kill bad guys. You have to hide your powers. And he's like, well, I'm not doing that. And I won't do it again because I'm going to keep killing them. And I said, not if I have any say. And I murdered him.
Oh, wow.
And he was a gangrel, so I could I'm like, gangrel to gangrel. You're letting the hunger consume you. You can use your gangrel powers, but you are being a bad boy. But I didn't convince him, and we had to fight. It was a pretty tough fight, claw versus claw.
Wow.
But I beat him, and then he died. And that's the end of the serial killer. So this is the one that started on the Santa Monica Pier.
Yeah.
One more I just want to talk to. Last side quest. Gargoyle.
What is Gargoyle?
Well, do you remember that Disney show?
Yes.
Which one was the hottest gargoyle? I think we decided, right? You liked Xanatos?
Did I say that?
No, I feel like you did find one of them attractive, though.
I did, but it's not the one that I was meant to. I liked the little green guy.
Oh.
I think his name was Lexington.
Yeah. He was the smart one?
He was cute.
I liked Brooklyn. He was the chubby one.
Was he?
I think so.
Or was that Bronx?
Oh, maybe
no,
that was
Bronx was the dog.
I don't remember.
Listeners, if you know who the chubby one was, write in.
Listeners, who was your Gargoyle's crush? Oh, you know what it was? I think that last time Matt had a crush on the Lady Gargoyle. Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Voiced by, what's her name? Marina Sirtis from
Star Trek.
From Star Trek.
Everyone was a Star Trek person on that show.
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes was on there too.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I'm looking at it now. Brooklyn had, he was the brown one with the white hair.
Okay.
Hudson was the chubby one.
That's the one I liked.
Well, he was the chubby old one. Then there was Broadway, who was also big.
Maybe it was I feel like it was Broadway.
Dumb.
Yeah, it was definitely Broadway.
Lexington was the little cute one.
Yeah.
And Bronx was the dog.
Right. Now, Isaacs tells you, because if you ask him if there's any other jobs he needs doing, he owns the Asian theater, but it is full of a gargoyle. So
he didn't tell me this at all.
Well, if you go back and talk to him.
I see.
So I was like, I'll help you with that. He gives you the key. He's like, you might be able to talk to him, but he probably isn't going to be too chatty. And I tried. And this is a fun fight because he's like crashing through all the theater, and he can take down walls and expand the amount of the theater you can see.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty neat. But I killed him really fast because my claws are very sharp.
Wow, I need to go back and do this.
Defeat me because I am too strong.
This game is so rich and multi-layered, I really thought I was touching on all the quests and content, but I've missed so much.
The gargoyle did not want to talk to me because he feels like vampires lie. And the last time he dealt with Isaac wants me to try and get him on his side. But he's like, the last time I dealt with Isaac, he sent people to kill me. And now he's trying to win me over. Screw you. You're all liars. I'm going to kill you.
And
well,
he's got a point.
He looks like a big gorilla. It's a cute little dude.
What a buddy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to kill him. But
Yeah,
I bet
that's
you
the way
could
it is sometimes.
maybe seduce him.
Oh, I'm going to try.
Yeah. That sounds like the perfect ending.
It does.
And it sounds like gargoyles are a curse like the vampires, that he used to be human. He had a master and everything, so I bet there's more to this.
We should take a deep dive into Vampire the Masquerade gargoyle lore.
Ooh, okay.
But first, we have to go to the corner.
Which corner is that, Vanessa?
That would be your bullshit minigame corner, John.
Oh, I did not like this. I didn't like it.
This is another instance of them trying to put a different game into this game.
This game that they tried to put in was like a bad 90s PC game. So basically Romero, Vanessa's paramour, really wants to go to the strip club. And if you let him go, he's like, well, just take care of the zombies for about 5 minutes. Don't let any of them out. There's 2 gates, front and back gate, that they can crash through. There's a timer. I'll be back in exactly five minutes. Here's a shotgun with some super good shooty times.
5 minutes isn't very long.
No, and at first it's like, oh, okay, there's like 1 or 2. You just have to like walk back and forth and make sure none of them are hitting on the gate. But then very quickly, they start being like a dozen of them at each gate. And you're trying to do one and they'll just smash through the other in a second. And it's a long walk between the 2. I don't know how you're supposed to do it.
I don't either, because at first I was trying to just run through the graveyard and kill every zombie I saw. But that didn't work. They crashed through the gate. I tried a couple times. Nothing worked. I
tried this for, half an hour, 45 minutes. I could not do it.
I don't think it can be done.
It must, but I don't know how. Like maybe if I had maxed out my protein thing.
Yeah, maybe. Or used like super speed or something like that.
Yeah. So Vanessa.
Yes, John.
Oh, can I tell you about one more side quest I did?
Okay.
Since we have a little bit of time. I did the Amalia's first side quest. Yeah, she is a model who was turned, ironically, into a Nosferatu, and she asks you to ruin the life of another model who is fat and she doesn't like. This model is not fat. She has a poster of her that like is, TMZ style. This is like pre-TMZ, but it's totally their style with like red lines over the picture. Like how they do. And she says she's ugly and fat and not a good model, and she wants to ruin her life. So she asks you to put some webcams around her apartment. So I was like, sure, I don't care. So I went to her apartment, and I think I've mentioned before, the stealth is pretty broken in this game. The only thing that will ever detect you is cameras or those little creatures. So I was just crouching right next to the lady I was trying to sneak around, and she didn't care. It was hilarious. So I just as long as I was crouching, I could walk around her and her boyfriend, plant these cameras, hack into her computer, and allow network access. And the cameras are these 90s Logitech. Remember those circle ones that everyone had? The webcams? And I went back to the Nosferatu lair and talked to her, and she was real excited. Because this lady killed herself in the time that it took me to get back. I guess she had posted all this stuff online of what she was doing in that 3 hours, or not even, that it took me to go back and visit.
Oh, no.
Oh, we should also mention the Nosferatu lair has an exit right out to the mausoleum. So it's easy you don't have to go through the sewers ever again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Well, John, I can't say
next
I
time.
approve of your
Did you not
You're-
do the side quest?
contributing to cyberbullying. I did not do it.
Vanessa would never.
I was like, you seem sad and washed up, and I won't do it. Actually, I think I took the quest, but I just never did it.
I just do evil things. This is probably my evilest playthrough, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. You're just getting into being a evil vampire.
Exactly. So, Vanessa, where are we playing to next time?
We are playing through the end of Chinatown.
Ooh, how will I know that Chinatown is over?
You'll leave it.
Well, I mean, you could leave at any time.
Well, I guess that's true. We are playing through the obtaining of the sarcophagus.
What?
Spoiler, Vanessa.
We're
Okay.
playing till you get a phone call from Gary.
Okay.
Gary.
I love Gary.
Well, wait for that phone call.
I will. Thanks, Vanessa. So,
You're welcome.
what are you squarely against this time?
Make Matt go first.
Matt, what are you squarely against?
I mean, so many options to choose from. There's the terrible soundtrack and the god-awful fucking storytelling and the ridiculous, cliched, trashy plots and characters. But you know, I think I'm going to be roundly for that Gary Golden fella. He was a fucking idiot, and I enjoyed it. What about you, John?
I am squarely against the physics puzzles the sewers had. And also just the link to the sewers in general, but I feel like we have covered that. Definitely. But whoo boy. That's all I have to say on that. Vanessa.
Yeah. I guess I'm squarely against the garbage sexuality that this game tries to convey.
It's like being real. This is what the world's really like.
Yeah,
If you
know what it's like? Do you remember that Nicolas Cage movie 8mm?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
like
a piece of
that.
garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that, but through the lens of fucking Blade. But not even like the good Blade, like Blade Trinity.
No.
It's like someone watched an episode of Angel and they were like, man, I wish this was on HBO so it could be rated R.
Yeah.
Everything's
Terrible.
hardcore and edgelordy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, have you made your squarely against? Was that what are you?
That's
you're
my squarely against.
Okay.
But I don't want to like get it twisted. I love this game.
I really enjoy it most of the time. I was very sad when it got very bad for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, at its best, this game is like a Cinemax movie. And at its worst, it's like a Cinemax movie.
Anytime where it gets things running at you, like mindless zombie enemies, like the cult or the 2 sex dungeons or the sewers, it gets very bad. But anytime where it's just talking to people and sneaky around, I really like it.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely added in more combat than was justified. Because really, the vampire story is never about a vampire battling, hordes of zombies or something. It's about vampire going up against a couple of people and using its wiles.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully that was the combat-iest chunker.
Maybe it was.
Let's hope. We have an
What
email.
about emails? Emails.
Da-da-da-da-da, Dear
We do have an email.
Vanessa,
Square
read
roots.
the email.
Okay. Dear Square Roots, I couldn't help but notice during the discussion of certain character assets on last week's show that there wasn't much mention of the beefy boys. And as we all know, physics do not apply only to ladies. Does Vampire, your current game, have customization sliders for beefy boys and their corresponding assets? If not, can you think of any good examples of RPGs that have decent beefy boy customization options? Sincerely, Wedge.
Do you want me to handle this, or do you want...
that sounds like a John email.
Dear Wedge, of course I have a list of every beefy boy friendly RPG. Although I would suggest non-RPGs first. I think the best customization options are in the games Saints Row 1 through 4. They are amazing. You can customize everything from tumminess to bulges, and you don't have to rely on a gender split. You can sort of have all sorts of types and people, and big and tall and fat and slim. Yeah, it's a real great customizing tool. Also, Soul Calibur. If you want to do fighting games, Soul Calibur 6, you can make some real beefy boys or whoever you want to make. But also, for RPGs, you should definitely check out the MMO Star Wars The Old Republic, because it's got... it doesn't have sliders or anything, but it has, I think, 6 presets for men and women, and they range from slim to chonk, which is fun, because you can make a very beefy boy Jedi or bounty hunter, or what are the other classes? I don't remember. Smuggler? Yeah. Or like Sith executioner type. It's pretty neat. And also, I recommend Dragon's Dogma, where you can make some very beefy boys indeed. Have any of you played Dragon's Dogma?
No, I've really wanted to for quite some time, but I haven't gotten to it.
You know, by 2021, which is only a year and 2 months away, that seems weird, we could play it for the podcast. So I might as well hold off on that one. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma has a lot of sliders, and you can make like your peon, or I forget what they call it, your like vessel, which is just like a simulacra of a human with no feelings or thoughts, and trade them around, which is pretty fun. So yeah, do that. Dragon's Dogma and Star Wars The Old Republic. 2 big beefy boy customization games. No, not really sliders, but yeah. All right. We have a Patreon. Give us money.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon.
Right now, the vote is over for the next game, but you could have voted if you'd... Yeah, well, by the time this episode airs, it will be over. A week from now. It's 3 days left on the vote. But you'll see that $5 a month will let you vote on games. But for $3, upcoming games, like we'll do a vote several times a year, and also on other stuff like Versus. But we also have $3 a month where you get all our bonus episodes. So there's the $3 level and the $5 level. Bonus episodes for the $3 and voting for the $5. Also bonus episodes. You know what I mean? I'm very bad at this. But the Patreon is a way of supporting the podcast and help us buy equipment and games and stuff. So, yeah, thank you very much for Patreoning. One other thing you get is for $1 or more, we will say your name at the end of the episode. As thank you.
Ooh, can I say some names?
You can...
Why don't you be Jim?
Yeah, you be Jim.
Okay, here I go. Jake Dickerson, Vanessa's front. That's my Jim impression. Did you like it?
It's very good.
Yeah, it's like Jake Dickerson.
I mean, it was too real.
Hi guys.
Hey guys, I'm Jim.
Hey, Jake Dickerson. Jake Dickerson, Vanessa's 4th mom.
Oh, Jim
Raymond
left.
From.
That is very accurate. Oh, burn.
Woo, take that, Banksy. Jimmy, Samu Mitchell, Chris Wilder, Pumpkins, but you're an adult. Matt Jorgensen, Cyril the Wolf, Vanessa's mom, The Red Right Eye, Alex Dullard, Owen Marble, Justin Ham, Nathan Poirot, Brian Stone, John Kissick, Justin Benoit, Biagio Demento, Did It for the Nookie, Paul Bursch, Meredith Anderson, Sling Thing, Ping Ringy Dingy, Dylan Rice, Julius Titus's spirit has finally found peace. Vanessa's mom, Kevin Shipley, Gregory, The Mighty Monarch, PJNs, Kevin Walter, Cody Wade.
We'd also like to thank Danny Lucas, Stephen Paget, Miguel Torres, Randy Pierce, Chris Ryan, Matthew Casterline, James Hothstetler, Wash in the Wind, Nawford, Zachary Davis, Bree Girth, Wonder Swan, Just Jerry, Kyle, Sean Walsh, D. Jethro, Mobot, Brady A. Berman, Michael Crawford, Cake Ninja, Crystal Thamrin, Sean Gonzalez, David Green, Race Jenkins, Kay, Gigi Loth, Nick, George Brady, Julia Zanella, Robert M. Pullum, Armin Hammer, Stephen Kroc, Patrick W. Bears, Citrus C. has slain the father of Tom. Pad Kids poured curd pulled cod.
Okay, I'm going to try this. Vanessa, can you give me a B-52 style backbeat going like maybe like doo-ba-da, woo, something like that? Okay.
Woo-ba-doo-ba-doo.
War Childress. Reddit is Harold Lauder, Joshua Bennett, Let's Get Spoopy, Jameson, G. Bailey, Florian Jonas Kramer, Joseph, Dr. Stephen Stone, Ross Disney, The Phantom Scofflaws of the Podpera, David Pascal, Buffy Summers, Robert T. More Games with Evil Playthroughs, Scarily Against, Fine, Say Everyone's Name, At Least It Annoys Matt, Eric Garby, Count Chunkerla, Go Cry Wolf, Huxley Iguana, David Shuck, Jonathan Ellsworth, Tyler Petty, Vanessa's People Mom, Ross Hartley, Tom Hardman, Brody Toy, Lexa Varial, T. Bumpkins, Dustin, Tracy Tanoff, Ron Squared, Andrew Granieri, Stompbot 9000, Chris Penyak, Benjamin Hafner, That One Guy, Lynn S., Resty Kamada, Jonathan Lee.
Cowman Mosser Coster. I can't speak after all that whoop-a-doo-booting. Let me try again. Cowman Mosser, Carson Clark, Joseph A. Rogers, Devin Sloan, Aaron Bachman, The Only Good Jim is a Drunk Jim, Mary, Queen of Scoffs, Andy Best, Amanda Douglas, Andy Smith, Stu Skeel, Christian Go, Heavy Metal Jesus, Josh Anderson, I Did It for the Gym, Galendo, Andy M., In Loving Memory of Sexy Grandma, Jordan O'Boyle Doesn't Drink Wine, Hexagon, James Plett, Hudson Roth, Adam Zimmerman, Jake Dickerson, No Gods, No Masters, Jared Collins, Cameron Shoei, Brian Pitt, Bobby Midkiff is no longer on strike, and Sean Arata.
Down. Hey, send us an email. You know our email address. It's squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. If you don't want to, you can check out our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or tweet at us at Square Roots Pod, where our hip young intern will answer using the vernacular of this day.
Yeet, 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 yeet.
Thanks to Katya Savia for letting us use her cover of Isolated from Vampire the Masquerade. You can find Katya on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram as Katya Savia, one word, and on Facebook as katyasavia.modernnoir. Links in the show notes. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
There's a moon in the sky. It's called the moon. Everybody's there.
My own private Idaho!
Hey, gang.
Yeah?
For the Square Roots Podcast, I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
Oh, I'm Jim Banks. And I'm Vanessa.
Bye.
Bye. Let's go. Bye. Bye.
Shadoobidop. Shadoobidop. You're welcome.
I'll never crawl again. I'll never fall again until I'm free. Here I stand in this room, caged and trapped inside. Seems I'm damned to live a lie. Unaware of what's outside.
I am recording. I've got my
I'm
podcast recording set
I
up.
have my podcast voice on.
Oh, Vanessa tried talking to me in person with her podcast voice, and it was really creepy.
It scared him.
Yeah, I was already nervous, and she made it worse.
Yeah, I made it worse.
I'm very timid and scared in person. I have
And
anxiety.
I hugged him too right away. I didn't
That's
even
okay.
ask permission.
No, it's fine.
You know you're safe from me, John. Your hair doesn't flop hardly at all.
It's true.
But the isolated, threatened, forced to extract the heart, pushed aside, made segregated, have no choice but be. The monsters make me hide, perhaps I'll eat myself alive. Internally, what is there left for me to be? Can't care for what's left me behind, and I stare at the light that makes me blind. These broken walls trap me inside, and isolated. Have no choice but be isolated, struggling, left alone, apart, pushed aside, made segregated, struggling, left alone, apart. Have no choice but be isolated, struggling, left alone, apart, pushed aside, made segregated. Have no choice but be.
All right, guys, I have to go. Bye.
What?
Bye, Jim.
What's
I have
happening?
to go.
Jim has to go.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you.
What?
Why did Jim leave?
The sun is coming into his living room, and so he had to flee to
Oh.
his dark place of respite.
His
Why did he
crypt.
really go?
Business stuff. He's a businessman. He's got to go do business.
It's 10 o'clock on a Sunday. Anyway, I have been reading the Vampire the Masquerade 20th anniversary edition of the source book.
Wait a minute.
What?
Did you
Oh,
see this
God.
message from Jim?
Oh, no. I can try to edit around it because he didn't say that much, but that'll be. Oh, okay. He said JK.
Oh,
Jim. He said he didn't record, but then he said it was a joke.
we got pranked.
Oh, pranked real hard.
I haven't been pranked that hard in a long time.
Yeah. So, Hollywood.